All right, today we're going to unpack a story that, on the surface, feels like your classic ghost tale. But let me tell you, it ends up being something so much more human and honestly, way more heartbreaking. It's all about a family, a dark secret, and that razor-thin line between what's real and what's not.
And it all kicks off with this one line. Shanti Niwas. It literally means abode of peace. But as you can probably guess, it's anything but peaceful. This right here immediately sets the tone, right? It makes you wonder what in the world is happening behind those doors.
So, let's get into it. Part 1 is all about the secret of Shanti Niwas. This is where we meet the family at the center of it all. Mayank, his wife Yamini, and their little girl, Thhapki.
You look at them, and on the surface, they seem like a totally normal family living in Gurugram. But you can feel it right away. Something is off. There's this heavy, unspoken tension that just hangs in the air around them. You can almost see it.
And all that tension? Well, it really boils over during what should be a happy day, Thhapki's birthday party. But instead of being a celebration, it's just filled with these really unsettling clues that something is deeply, deeply wrong in this house.
Okay, look at this. This is where it gets really weird. On one side, you've got the mother, Yamini, and she is just intensely paranoid. She's telling her daughter the outside world is a terrible place, won't let her have any friends over. But on the other side, you see these physical signs that she's in serious distress. Her hands are trembling, she's got these dark circles under her eyes, and all the while, her husband, Mayank, just stands there, totally silent.
The whole birthday scene is just eerie. They bring out this tiny chocolate cake, right? They sing happy birthday, but Yamini's smiling through gritted teeth. Her hands are shaking the entire time. And Mayank, he just watches. He acts like this is all perfectly normal. The whole thing feels like they're putting on a show, but who are they performing for?
So, once the party is over and night falls, that creepy tension we've been feeling just explodes into straight-up terror. The real fear is about to begin.
Let's just walk through how this night completely falls apart. At 8, Yamini puts Thhapki to bed with this really harsh warning to stay put. A little later, she gets into a huge fight with Mayank because he gives the leftover cake to the building's watchman. She is furious about this. Then, boom, 1 a.m. She wakes up, swears she hears Thhapki crying in the hall, but when she runs to her daughter's room, it's empty.
And you can see why the panic sets in. The scene is just classic kidnapping 101. Thhapki's room is empty, her door is wide open, the front door of the apartment is ajar, and, get this, the watchman, the same guy she was just so angry about, is also gone. I mean, all signs point directly to him, right?
And this, right here, is where everything starts to unravel. The search for Thhapki just spirals out of control, and you start to wonder, okay, what is actually real anymore?
Yamini is absolutely convinced the watchman took Thhapki, so she bolts out of the house. But her search is bizarre. One minute she's laughing, the next she's crying hysterically, digging through trash cans, yelling Thhapki's name. It's just complete chaos, and poor Mayank is just watching, absolutely horrified.
So as Mayank is chasing after his wife, who seems to have completely lost her mind, you have to ask yourself a huge question. Is this a mother who's been driven mad by what's happening, or is something else going on? Can we even trust what Mayank is seeing?
He can't find Yamini, he's terrified, he doesn't know what to do, so he makes this one desperate phone call. And a little while later, his sister, Gita, shows up. And with her, well, the truth finally starts to come out.
And here is where the horror story you thought you were watching just completely shatters. It's not about ghosts or kidnappers. It's about a tragedy that is devastatingly real.
So here's the gut-wrenching truth. This was never a ghost story. It was Mayank's story. It turns out Yamini and Thhapki were passengers on the Coromandel Express during that horrific Odisha train collision. They didn't survive. The shock of losing them both at once caused Mayank to have a complete psychological break. The reality is, he's been living in a constant state of hallucination ever since.
3 years. Just let that sink in. For 3 entire years, Mayank has been trapped in this loop of grief, reliving days with the family he lost, day in and day out. We find out that his sister, Gita, is actually a doctor, and she's been trying to care for him this whole time. That watchman, he wasn't a kidnapper. Gita hired him to keep an eye on Mayank. And Yamini and Thhapki, they aren't ghosts. They're projections from Mayank's own mind, which has built a wall to protect him from a truth that's just too painful to accept.
So, with all that in mind, let's go back and look at everything that happened before. None of it was supernatural.
It was all just the symptoms of a man's broken heart trying desperately to hold on.
That weird birthday party? Suddenly, it makes perfect, tragic sense. The tiny cake, no guests, the forced happiness. Mayank was celebrating his little girl's birthday all by himself, just playing out the scene with a family that only existed in his memory.
And Yamini's extreme paranoia about the outside world? That wasn't really her, that was him. It was his own trauma showing itself. His mind created a version of his wife who was terrified of the very thing that took his family away, the outside world. It was his brain's twisted way of trying to protect them.
In the end, Gita realizes something heartbreaking. As severe as his condition is, in a strange way, these hallucinations are the only thing keeping him alive. So the story leaves us with this really profound question. When a delusion is the only thing protecting someone from unbearable pain, is it really a sickness you should try to cure? Or is it a shield that maybe, just maybe, you need to understand?